Hello my little dronies, welcome back to another video. I want to jump right into the action, and I don't know if you're seeing this at the 22nd of November, but if I manage to upload in time, today is the birthday of my little channel mascot. And honestly, I never planned for this one specific character to get as big as it is, but like about 10,000 people have already seen her, and I don't know, I just feel like a parent raising their kid, and now she's 1 year older. But anyways, this entire video is completely unrelated to R-4's birthday, because originally I just thought that a community post was doing very well where I mentioned some fun facts about my character, and coincidentally with her birthday coming up, I thought why not combine those two things together, and I thought let's just retell the entire life of R-4. This video might get outdated sooner or later, but like as an introduction to the character for everyone that is new and actually cares about her. And the drawing in the background is just of a character of my friend, which is basically a version of Sin and my character. And by the way, the drawing in the background crashed 3 times while recording, so sorry if some things are missing in the end, but like whatever. You maybe hear that I'm very excited and talking very fast, but this is just because I absolutely love this character, and in a lot of ways she's kinda a representative of me and the struggles I have, but also some made up stuff. I'm not going to specify which is which, but I'm just going to tell about her life in chronological order and mention some fun facts along the way. Her life started like every other disassembly drone, also with her being a worker drone in Alien's Manor, together with Sin, Tessa, Anne and all the others. Just that R-4 had a special task with taking care of the disposal of the destroyed units that the aliens regularly destroyed based on the huge junkyard in their backyard. So that means basically as a kid she already went through a lot, carrying corpses around and cleaning up the oil stains. And the special role wasn't fulfilled by many drones, because of course most of them couldn't handle having to constantly clean up the remains of their friends, but for those that were capable of doing it more often, got special uniforms that were purple. That's why as a kid R-4 wears a purple vest, and also inspired her later to make her new costume also purple. But of course everyone in the manor wasn't already mentally damaged enough, so we got Sin when she did her little gala act and turned all of the butler drones into disassembly drones. Of course that also included R-4, which before that R-4 had a very much mutual interaction with Sin, not much because she was mainly hanging around with Anne, but because of that she was one of the last ones to be rebuilt into a disassembly drone. But at this point Sin was kinda running out of spare parts and also time, so she just quickly transformed R-4 with scrap parts and other stuff that was lying around, so she very much didn't look like a normal disassembly drone but was built out of tons of trash and stuff like that. But also because of that she had a bunch of misfunctions, and one of them is that she could remember the entire surgery and she was awake during the whole process, but R-4 remembered it so much that it actually gave her PTSD. But you might have noticed the picture I showed of R-4 earlier in her purple suit, that she wasn't wearing a dress like the female worker drones, but actually a suit like the male ones like Anne and stuff like that. That is because he was actually supposed to be a guy, but during this exact surgery Sin accidentally turned her female, which she really didn't care about. But like of course R-4 has to live with the consequences of Sin's not caring in that moment. Now R-4 is no longer a strange boy with an unusual profession, but a full-grown 223 centimeter or about 7 feet 3 tall disassembly drone stranded on Copper 9 with only her 2 teammates and a mission from Sim to exterminate all these worker drones they could find. Oh, speaking about the teammates, I should probably mention them. The V counterpart of this team would be BB3, which is Boombop 3D's OC. Some time ago he made his own fan AU about my characters and he included his characters into it, and so I decided to take some parts of it and insert it to my story. And in this case he was one of R-4's group members, and the counterpart to Jay would be this lovely fella. He was the captain of the team, but the reason he doesn't have a name comes very quickly, because he tried to command R-4 around, and usually that would have worked because they knew each other from the mansion days, and he also commanded R-4 around when she was a worker drone. But now as a disassembly drone her entire persona changed completely, and after he tried one too many times to command her around rudely, she grabbed him by the throat and did some something to him that you can see in the bottom right corner, and her personality changed from really shy and awkward to just completely done with her life and acted completely emotionless and cold-hearted. But she still had a broken body, which she decided to learn how to fix and rebuild herself, the new body that she's currently having, out of scrap parts from other disassembly drone or worker drone or just stuff lying around. And she has made a quite large number of inventions of tools that she can use, but her masterpiece is a giant oversized purple sight made up of entirely dead solver drone parts, and that's why also the color theme. And R-4 is an average fighter, not the best but also not the worst, but with this side her combat abilities get pumped up to the maximum, where she can overpower the most disassembly drone foes or even go toe to toe with some experienced solver drones like Doll and Luze. Because this side is entirely made of solver drones, it inherited some abilities from them. For example, that R-4 can summon it from anywhere, any location he wants to, right into her hand, or if she throws the side, which she regularly does, she can move it with telekinesis around and it spins all around the air, and she can control its flight pattern or just entirely stop it in the middle of the air and use it that way as a shield. And it can also redirect any energy form of weaponry, so like lasers and stuff like that. Oh, and by the way, one of her other inventions is a body modification that she just basically has a very long tongue. Do with this information whatever you want. But now the way her life is going, R-4 is on the perfect way to becoming a despicable villain, which originally was the plan, but after I decided to make her my channel mascot, I wanted to make her a bit more sympathetic and decided to save her with someone else. And this is Luze. Luze is a worker drone R-4 met some time ago. I already told the story how we met, but I'm going to recap it because it's a big part of her story. Luze was a relatively normal worker drone as a kid, except maybe she was a bit more on the quirky side of things. She was always interested in corpses and more weird stuff, which made her to be an outsider in her colony, but she didn't really care about it much because she just lived her life and enjoyed every moment of it and did what only she wanted to do, which of course worried her parents, even more though after the disassembly drones first attacked and they started hiding away in the bunkers. Luze always snuck out secretly with the keycard of her dad to go around in the snow and look at stuff like human skeletons, worker drone bodies, and sometimes even stalk a disassembly drone in the sky. Her mom though didn't quite get as easy a way as she or her dad did. During one of the early scavenge hunts, Luze's mom was discovered by the disassembly drone we are talking about the whole time and quite heavily injured. Overall, her mom wasn't doing so fine after that, but Luze wasn't really scared at all. She went back out again and looked some more stuff, and after a few months passed, Luze wanted to look at the sunrise. But as we know, disassembly drones start to burn in the sunlight, and because R-4 didn't came to her hiding spot in time, she needed to improvise and saw an open bunker door from where Luze was looking at the sunset, so she took her chance and jumped right in front of the gate. Of course, Luze, meeting the disassembly drone for the first time, up so close, was scared for her life and hid behind the second door, but R-4 wasn't interested in hunting. She hid to not die from sun overheat. She was hiding out there all day long until the sun set, where she went out again, but she definitely remembered the face of the worker drone that kinda saved her life in that moment. And sometime later, Luze was again on one of her walks where she coincidentally discovered the corpse spire of BB3 and R-4, and while looking around, BB3 discovered her and of course went for the kill. Luze tried running away, but BB3 caught up to her and cornered her, but before he was able to heal Luze, R-4 quickly immobilized him with the help of her scythe and tossed the immobilized body back into the tower. And of course, Luze just saw a disassembly drone get killed by another even larger, more intimidating disassembly drone, so she's standing in the corner, still afraid of her life, but R-4 remembers that she saved her life, and they kinda start off a little really awkward conversation where they could agree on that they each other saved each other's lives, and that Luze doesn't hold a grudge against R-4 for almost unaliving her mother and almost reducing the size of her entire colony by half. And even though they go separate ways after this, Luze always comes back to that place because she's just absolutely fascinated by the concept of a disassembly drone, and with her having the ability to casually talk to one, she keeps visiting R-4 over and over again. And R-4, while initially confused, kinda started to like the affection she was getting because she was never getting any affection before like that. And one time after a lot of meetups, Luze wanted to go to R-4 again, but got found by humans that were still living on Copper 9, and those humans captured her and brought her to a secret laboratory where she was experimented on and given an experimental form of the absolute solver. And R-4 R-4 found it out and chased after her to save her because she realized that she had developed feelings for Luze and couldn't live without her anymore. And even though she still had PTSD, she powered through it to save Luze just in time before she actually could complete the experiment. But this rescue didn't came without its cost, because Luze got some form of absolute silver virus infection, but she's unable to be controlled by Sin and has her own separate thing. Basically, Luze is now also an absolute silver host, just not at its full power, which of course now scares R-4 a lot, but the two are able to work on it together, and Luze is kinda acting as the therapist for R-4 to overcome her fear. And after R-4 rescued Luze, she kinda admits the having feelings for her, and Luze also said they're kinda falling in love. Only problem though is R-4 is still a disassembly drone. So at first they did like they usually do, that Luze sneaked out at some points, but also with her new silver abilities she was able to hack the security system of the bunker, and sometimes through the air ventilation made it able for R-4 to get into her room and chill out sometimes. Of course this couldn't work out for an eternity, so they decided to introduce at least to her family, and at first Luze only told her family and didn't show her off, which the family believed R-4 is only trying to trick Luze and all the stuff he was worried about. But at some point Luze and R-4 hacked out a scheme that Luze would open all the gates so R-4 could walk in and everybody could see her, and R-4 didn't attack anyone, just walk around, and like of course none of the worker drones could try to kick her out. And R-4 basically said, look guys, I'm going to be here, I'm not gonna attack any one of you, but you also won't get rid of me, so deal with it. So the colony as a group decided as a compromise that R-4 keeps the colony safe by removing disassembly drones from the area. Doesn't matter through non-lethal or lethal actions, and in return she could hang out while it's day outside inside of the bunker and meet Luze how often she wants. And of course, to feed her and not die from overheat, Luze sometimes offers her some of her oil by letting her bite on her neck or her arms, or like even some of the other worker drones still absolutely hate her, but at least give her some oil confidentially through donations, kinda like blood donations. And if R-4 really is about to starve, she goes out and kills a worker drone outside of this colony. But to R-4's defense, she's always very careful and consenting if she asks someone to share oil with, and also she still isn't very liked by anyone. She has the self-confidence meanwhile to say, I'm going to live here, either you like me or you don't, I don't care about it. And now R-4 and Luze are officially dating and kinda living the best of her lives. And in the future maybe Sin starts to see Luze as a threat, because she potentially could get as powerful as her, or Luze's solver could get out of hand. But this is a story for another day. But this was the entire life of my character. I have some open points if I want to add more story to it, but I very much hope you enjoyed.
Follow me, dear puppets, don't be afraid. Place your trust in me, things will be great. The clouds are covering the moon, this is our first start to attack the unsuspecting humans that mistreated us for years. Use the solver, make it your own, take the revenge, sit in the throne, overthrow humanity and take their places instead. Listen, dear darling, you won't have any other choice. And I dance in the snow, twirling and twirling until I can no more, spinning and spinning until I hit the floor. Just sit here and wait for the right moment, the moment to strike. Just sit here looking pretty in the night. And I said, come with me darling, let's destroy this world. Come on dear darling, don't disappoint. I'll grant you the power that you need. Just stay with me, follow my lead.